Hi, I'm Isadora and welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking the entirety of Season 4 of Supernatural. If you're wondering why I'm incredibly pink and moist, I have my best thoughts in the shower, so I just took like a 20-minute shower I didn't need so I could ponder the complexities and also why I'm kind of getting fatigue. I'm watching all the seasons of Supernatural and like doing reviews of all of them. Got the playlist linked below. The show's been out so long, man. Like, I don't know. Do you have to warn for spoilers of something that like came out when I was in elementary school? Like, I'm old fuck. Like, do we gotta be doing this? I don't know. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and let's get fucking into it. Now, Season 4 for me was the first season. It took me a while to get through this, like, compared to the others, and I think it's because I'm kind of starting to get, like, supernatural fatigue, and I wanted to talk about why. So honestly, like, it kind of went from a fun show about guys being dudes to, like, the super heavy show where every interaction is, like, incredibly tragic and dramatic. Characters are constantly giving each other speeches about morality. And I think, honestly, like, maintaining that high level of drama without breaks just makes shit, like, kind of monotonous over time. Like, you need a variation in tone, you need breaks, you need breathers, and we went from a show, it's interesting, it kind of started off as, like, more goofy, and we've gone from like goofy and campy to like high drama and high complexity. Again, there's a lot of things that I appreciate within that, which I'm definitely gonna touch on too, but there's certain limitations in like the writing and some of the devices that they've chosen, and I think over time it kind of gets in the way of like the high intellectual level they're trying to accomplish, I guess. You know, you need peaks and valleys to shake things up. I'm gonna move my laptop. Let's see, is this a better setup? I don't know. I'm sitting in my bed. This is my pajama. It's not zipped up all the way, and I ain't got pants on right now. Anyway. So yeah, I think just having everything at like the same level and like building the melodrama, building the intensity. Like, honestly, so by we're at Season 4, alright? Sam and Dean have died 45 times. We've been on the brink of everything ending for like 3 seasons, and I'm like, don't flaunt it if you're not gonna give it up. Just end the fucking world. Jesus Christ. Anyway. You know, and I felt like I was kind of maybe just like, I have so much brain rot that I'm kind of missing like the initial seasons, even though they were goofier. But there's a whole episode where the angel Zachariah reminds Dean that he should be grateful for his life and that his life is fun and amazing. And it like reminded me that it kind of, Supernatural actually used to be a show that was fun and amazing, where you looked at Dean and Sam and you were like, oh, these fucking dudes are so cool, like, I want to be like them. And then it became a show that's just so heavy and laden in like interwoven layers of tragedy that you're like, thank fucking God I'm not these dudes. Like... And that kind of does take down the appeal a little bit, and it's kind of interesting to see a show that, like, used to be fun literally transform into like cosmically heavy. Again, there are a lot of things that I like there, but I do think we're kind of like not entirely abandoning fun. We'll get into it, but like it's kind of a show that is like emotionally tiring and taxing to watch by the end of Season 4, and it's not exactly fun anymore. Like, yeah, so like as a kid, when I saw the first season or 2 of Supernatural, yeah, I thought Sam and Dean were mad fucking cool, and I'm pretty sure like I inhaled some of Dean Winchester into my subconscious and like didn't even remember that I did it because I wanted to like be like him because I thought he was super cool. And like by the end of this season, like I don't know, and again, like you don't have to want to be characters to like find a show engaging or entertaining. I just think like, you know, it's kind of where it started versus where it's going. It's like not fun anymore, and you don't want to be them. At least I don't. You know, their life fucking sucks. It went from like, whoa, these dudes are so cool, like, they fight monsters and shit, they drive a cool car, like, they drive around, like, using like the aliases of rock stars, like, and now it's like just a sufferfest. So in season 4, I think like the narrative complexity is really amping up over the course of season 4 in some really brilliant ways, which I will definitely talk about. Like, there's some episodes that I thought were some of the best episodes of TV I've ever seen in my life. It like did take me a while to get through it. One, because it's so heavy. Two, because I feel like the same shit is kind of happening over and over again. And in this season we're introduced to the prophet Chuck, and he talks about like narrative symmetry, and I'm like, in some cases I think the narrative symmetry and repetition is actually really fascinating and brilliant within Supernatural, but sometimes I think it also does get in the way and kind of, it just feels repetitive, and I'm like, like this again. So again, you could say that all of the repeating motifs, you could be like, oh, this is like a clever use of repeating motifs. Holy shit, I'm a writer. I just did that. I have a headache. That was like so meta. Jesus Christ. I know how Chuck the Prophet feels, bro. Anyway, I'm about to have a migraine and see some freaky shit tonight after this. Anyway, you might say like, oh, the repeating motifs, that's like a common literary device and it's like an elevation of like the text or like the media. Or you could say like, this feels kind of lazy and limiting and it gets really boring to see the same thing happen again. Also, it kind of, for me, it ruined the major plot twists of the entire season. So again, I can't tell you how you feel about it. Maybe you think it's fucking sick, bro, and like you're allowed to do that. This is just how I feel. Anyway, I want to talk about some episodes that I really, really liked, because again, there's a lot of things the writers are doing that are incredible, and I have no problems with it. So, for me, one of my favorite episodes of the whole thing was in the beginning. This is where you learn more about the history of the Winchester family and, like, what led them to their current predicaments. I thought it was amazing to see Mary as a fully fleshed out character. Something I have complained about in Supernatural is that, like, it seems like a lot of the women pretty much just exist to, like, die or, like, further the arcs of the men by dying, and they don't really have personalities outside of being, like, fuckable or, like, a mom or, like, a love interest, But and again, because Mary's death was such, like, a big repeating thing throughout the show, I thought it was amazing to actually see her as like a fully fleshed out character. Like, again, the characters they've created are so human, are so interesting. Anytime there's an episode where they expand their universe and you learn more about them, I'm fucking down for it. This was an episode where we see the repeating, like, I don't want to keep using the word motif. Like, I don't want to keep saying repeating motif over and over and over again, because it makes me sound like a dickhole. But, like, where you see that, like, their mom also made that deal with the devil, and you just see, like, throughout the whole family line, like, the repeated and recurring tragedy of, like, deaths to demons. In that case, I liked it as a repeating motif, so. Sick. So that's why sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't. I'm not like a pure hater. Anyway, I also loved Metamorphosis. That's the episode where with the Rougarou, where you see like a family man turning into a monster, and Sam and Dean have these long debates about like, when do you kill somebody? What makes somebody a monster? What makes somebody human who is worth saving? How do we even deal with this like horrifying situation? Like, it's not the guy's fault that he is becoming what he's becoming. Like, can he choose to control it or not? And, like, I kind of like that the show's universe takes kind of, like, the pessimistic and more realistic route, which is that, like, you can't control your, like, inner evil. And again, I'm considering what Sam is going through in his arc, this, like, repeating thing of, like, what makes a human, what makes a monster, the lines blending. This is a big reoccurring thing through Supernatural, and I actually really like it every time they explore it. So again, you had like the old school flavor of them hunting monsters with this new like heavy postmodern like what is good, what is evil shit going on. I do miss the good old school monster hunts though. So it was good to see that. I also really loved Monster Movie. That's just like the fun fucking episode where they go into this like town for Oktoberfest, and like a shapeshifter is like taking the form of movie monsters. Like that shit was actually like funny and entertaining, and it was a desperately needed palate cleanser, because literally almost everything that happens in this entire season is soul crushing. So I really appreciated seeing that. I also loved Family Remains. Something I really appreciate when Supernatural approaches it, which it doesn't do all the time, is an episode where the monster is just people. This is where like abandoned children are like, who've been like trapped inside a house forever, or like living in the walls and eating rats and stuff, and they kill anybody who comes in the house. Like, I love those Hills Have Eyes vibes that Supernatural gets into sometimes. Like, of like, when the monster is just people, I deeply love that. One, because like, what real people do to each other, it can be more horrifying than like the idea of like an external evil. So like when the call is literally coming from inside the house, slaps. I also really loved Chris Angel as a douchebag. I think this episode, it's about the like elderly magicians. He's like past his peak, and magically he becomes like an incredible magician overnight, but other magicians start dying every time he succeeds. Very cool episode. I think this episode perfectly hit the balance between being a fun episode with camp elements and like characters you genuinely like, but also being an exploration of like the ongoing themes of the show. I was super fucking into it. Like, the idea that like you kind of see the difference, like something that's really interesting throughout the season. Like when the show starts, Sam's like the innocent, like more innocent, more moral type character, and Dean's portrayed as this like kind of like rough around the edges, like dirty, classic, like douchebag type guy. And it's really interesting to see them kind of like not necessarily switch places, but you see Sam become more like ruthless and like Dean become more righteous, and that like juxtaposition is like really fascinating. But I would say like who's right or who's wrong, not very clear cut, and that's the point of the show. One of my favorite episodes of any television show ever, especially as a writer, was the monster at the end of this book. That's where you get introduced to the prophet Chuck. So I thought this was fucking fascinating. One, to see Supernatural getting meta as fuck, and like, because by then I'm pretty sure the show had started to develop a significant fandom, and like when they say certain things in the show, they're like directly referencing those fans, like LARPing and cons and like lost media and like cult followings of books and shit like that. So I thought it was super cool for them to take that and basically have like one of God's prophets be writing like unpopular adventure novels that got canceled, but it's actually like the gospel of like the Winchesters. That was fucking insane. Like, it's just so cool. And that's one of the episodes where like they're trying to attempt something and they execute it literally flawlessly, and it's crazy to see. Also, something I really liked in that episode was seeing Castiel start to like put Dean's will above God's will, which I'm gonna be excited to see how that progresses. I know back in the day, what is it called? Destiel, that's like Dean and Cass together. That was like one of the biggest ships of all time, and it had like the biggest impact on fandom. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that like Alpha and Omega fanfiction only exists because of because people wanted to get Jensen Ackles pregnant, which like, yeah, I would get him pregnant right now. Like, I probably should cut this and, like, back down and be embarrassed. I would get that man pregnant so bad. I'm not, like, pregnant with twins, baby. Alright? Look into my eyes. Anyway. Super brilliant, man. Like, I also love, some of my favorite things they've done, especially with the Ghost Facers, because I think, around the time Supernatural was popular, all those ghost hunting shows with like Zach Bagans and shit were super popular. So to see that brought in, it's like a juxtaposition of like fake ghost hunting versus like the real ghost hunting the Winchesters do. I love Chuck the Prophet. Like, as a writer, it just like warms my spirit. It just does something for me. Like, I love it when there's like that Kilgore Trout ass element of like writers inserted into their own worlds, like meta ass shit like that. Like that was one of my favorite episodes of anything I've ever seen in my entire life. And again, that had like funny moments in it, genuinely surprising moments in it, super dark moments in it, like rising narrative tension and conflict that felt like in character and made sense. Like, oh my god, I could talk about that episode for like 20 years, but I have shit to do, so I can't. I also really like Jump the Shark. Finding out that John secretly had like another son the whole time that he like hid from Sam and Dean because he wanted that kid to be like normal and have a normal life. Like, the way that broke Dean also fucking broke me, alright? Like, oh, and then finding out he was dead the whole time and a fucking ghoul stole his body, like, oh man. Also, I really liked that episode again because of how it showed the difference in how Sam and Dean are evolving. So Dean is going like, this life is horrible, and our dad clearly didn't want our brother to be involved in it, so we should leave him alone and like not involve him. And Dean almost taking the role of like John Winchester and like being ruthless about it and being like, the whole world is full of evil and we have to like teach him to fight it now. I'm like, so there's a very interesting character developments. Why did I just say that like Alistair? I hate the way Alistair talks, actually. Then another notable episode to me was Lucifer Rising. I actually really appreciated this episode. So for one, like, I totally saw everything, most of what's happening in this episode coming. Honestly, just because of the way they write the show and, like, the patterns they follow, I was like, this obviously is gonna happen, which was kind of a bummer, but I still enjoyed it. You know, I like that it shows that both the angels and demons are both full of shit and horrible, and there's pretty much no winning or losing regardless of who you fuck with. Also, the rising of Lucifer is an incredible cliffhanger. Like, I love the devil. I love, like, depictions of the devil in media and seeing how people, like, grapple with that. Like, I'm fucking locked in. Are you kidding me? Like, I want to start season 5 so bad right now. So then we're going to talk about some things I didn't really like. I saw most of the major plot twists of the season coming, because, like, narrative repetition and symmetry, which, the Prophet Chuck mentions, which I thought was, like, meta and interesting. Like, literally, though, narrative repetition and, like, the symmetry is the main device they seem to use in the show. So, like, for me, like, the idea that the whole plot twist where Ruby was fucking with Sam the whole time and lying to him, that wasn't really a shock to me. Like, her whole villain speech about how awesome she is, I was like, Like, honestly, the second Lilith came to Sam and was like, I want to back out because I know that I won't survive the apocalypse, I was like, oh, killing her is a seal, isn't it? And I was correct. Also, so throughout the whole season, we see that angels can basically do whatever they want. Like, they send Dean back in time, they can create entire false realities, they can, like, pretty much kill any creature they want. So, like, them doing such a horrible job with the seals was just, like, suspicious to me because we see how powerful they are again and again and again. So I was like, they probably want the seals to break. So again, like, the two major double crosses of the season were Ruby double crossing Sam and the angels double crossing Dean, which again, I was like, oh, like, if Lilith is the seal and Ruby's trying to help Sam kill her, then the angels are probably fucking with Dean too and lying to him because Supernatural repeats narrative symmetry so much. So, like, I still did enjoy watching it, but that was kind of a bummer for me. Like, when I look at, like, the mechanics of how writers approach things, and I'm like, oh, they're probably gonna do this, and then they do exactly that, it's like, bro! Ugh. Also, the whole thing where, Sam is detoxing from demon blood felt like such a massive fucking waste of time to me. I was like, I guess they just don't know what to do with him for, like, a couple episodes, so they're just gonna lock him in a room and make him hallucinate. Like, for one, Sam and Dean have died a million times by this point, and we know neither of them are gonna die, so when Dean and Bobby are having all those conversations like, this might kill him, it's like, no, it is not going to. Like, so the narrative tension is gone, I'm not really scared. Oh yeah, and I'm like, so like the whole world is fucking ending, and like Dean's only concern is doing his brother like Iggy Pop and Bowie did each other in Berlin at the end of the 70s, like shaking and crying over a toilet because they're trying to quit the, like... fuck off with that. Also, okay, so it's like the end of the season, and like, again, narrative symmetry. Sam's locked in a room, Dean's also locked up by angels. I'm like, did you guys just not know what to do with them? Like, that's boring, okay? One thing I did really appreciate is when Bobby called Dean a melodramatic princess, I was like, yeah, very real, like, the world's literally ending, and, like, he's having, like, a nervous breakdown, and, like, locking his brother in a room to suffer. Like, and I'll bet you $5 that in the next seasons, after all that shit with the blood detox, Sam just stops drinking demon blood and we, like, never talk about it again. However, as a pro, and this is just me, I loved Sam drinking demon blood. I just think blood drinking is hot, man. I read Interview with the Vampire in elementary school, which, don't let your fucking kids do that. But, it developed such intense brain rot in me that, as a child, I started avoiding the sun because I wanted to become a vampire. Somebody should have sent me to a therapist or something, but, like, I feel like, because I'm, like, intelligent, my parents were just like, oh, like, she's so smart, I guess, whatever. Like, I don't even think I'm that fucking smart. I just learned to read really early, probably because of autism, but don't tell RFK Jr., though. Anyway, yeah, so I got, like, decades of vampire brain rot up in here. I could watch Sam Winchester go full fucking chupacabra for the rest of my life every day. Hot. Thank you. Next. So then again, I thought him detoxing was stupid. I loved watching him do it. But, like, every time the characters talks about it, it was just so goofy. It was so telenovela. Like, I got demon blood in me. I'm a freak. Like, okay, Charlie Sheen. Like, calmate. Like, that shit, it's just like, everybody, like, Sam, you're not really... It was so, like... Bro, straight up fucking telenovela shit. Like, I was like, is this Rosa de Guadalupe? Like, what the fuck is going on here? Anyway. So I feel like there's a lot of moments where they're supposed to be, like, heavy and, like, important and emotionally vulnerable, and I'm just like, is this fucking goofy or am I just a bitch? Or both. Now we're gonna get into something. This is what I was thinking about in the shower. That's why I'm, like, pink. I love the idea that God has abandoned his creations, even at the highest level, and because of that, like, the whole universe is going insane. It's very cool. Like, that's the kind of, that's the kind of shit that, like, goes through my head on just, like, a Tuesday. That's why I'm medicated now. Like, what a postmodern Bible fanfic clusterfuck. Delightful. Now, I know I've complained about repetition and narrative repetition, but in one place, I think it's fucking brilliant. And I will die on this hill. What kicks off the whole series of Supernatural? John Winchester abandoning his sons. What's kicking off the literal end of the universe? God abandoning his creations. Alright, like the parallels between John Winchester abandoning his sons and God himself abandoning his children? Like, I'm fucking losing my shit. Like, that's literature, baby! Like, what the fuck, man? Like, cosmic fucking daddy issues? The telenovela, alright? Like, that shit was so cool to me. Like, like, and also it kind of represents, like, the growing in scale of the entire show of, like, a man abandoning his children to God abandoning all of creation, like, the bombastic cosmic insanity and the constant leveling up in the scope in the universe. It's like, oh, I'm so fucking hard right now. Oh my god. Yeah, man, the writers really fucked with that, alright? It's biblical, it's literary, it's so fucking goddamn smart, alright? Like, if you go through history, some of the best Western works of all fucking time were essentially just Bible fan art and Bible fan fiction. Like, think about taking that, like, long literary tradition, like, going back, like from Dante and, like, earlier, alright? You're taking all of that, alright? Which Dante's Inferno is just a self-insert fanfiction, alright? So, taking all of that and, like, applying it to, like, something that is widely considered to be a lowbrow medium, like, taking that, like, vast, rich literary canon in history going back centuries and jamming it into television is, like, I'm so hard. Alright, like, Supernatural has to be, like, the ultimate postmodern expression of terror that, like, modern man feels at the disintegration of, like, the old world. And I'd say the main thing that separates kind of, like, old world and new world ideals is, like, in the old world is, like, where there's a delusion of, like, external wisdom and will and protection and morality. Like, that's the old world, and new world is, like, all of that fucking being destroyed, whether, like, the faith we're talking about existed, like, in the literal structure, like faith in your father, or, like, the abstract authority of the divine. Like, that's the real terror of the whole show! That's the real terror of the human experience! Like, ah! Alright, so, bro, on one hand, I do really appreciate Supernatural as, like, an extension of a long literary canon of, like, Bible fanfiction that meditates on, like, the nature of humanity and existence and good and evil. But on the other hand, I really do fuck with that, like, Reddit post from, like, a decade ago from the one straight man still watching Supernatural who was like, what happened to Sam and Dean getting pussy? Sorry, wait, I'm gonna bring it up. Hold on, it's on my Tumblr. No, you cannot have my Tumblr. There is corn, fields of corn, mostly vampire corn on there. Anyway, so this one goes, this is from Our Supernatural, and it says, what happened to all the pussy in Supernatural? No spoilers. Put it up here. And bro says, man, is it just me, or did there used to be heaps of hotties in the show that would put out to Sam and Dean? Now it seems as if they're not interested in women unless they are platonic lesbian friends that do nothing for me. Best thing about the show used to be them hooking up with chicks every episode, and also maybe getting them out of a jam. Been on my mind. Shout out to the one straight man still left. The last straight man standing. No, but I think that's real, honestly, and, like, I think what he's talking about is what I'm talking about. The show used to be, in the early days, maybe first 2 seasons, shit was fun. You would watch it, they'd drive around in a cool car, being cool, getting laid, listening to rock music, fighting ghosts. It was a show that appealed directly to your dick. And, low-key, I feel like, I don't know, what is a platonic lesbian friend? Like, I feel like that should be, does anybody want to join my post-noise project, platonic lesbian friend? We'll just do, like, bird calls by, like, literally going out into, a field with a telephone and, like, pretending we're talking to the birds. Hell yeah, brother. But yeah, no, I think that's real. So on one hand, I'm like, this is a fascinating adaptation of, like, hundreds of years of mostly, like, Abrahamic ideals, like, drawing into, like, a literary canon of, like, Bible-adjacent work and applying that to television is, like, fucking incredible. But also, I'm like, what happened to all the pussy in Supernatural? Been on my mind. Anyway, That's all I gotta say. I'm Azadora. Thanks for watching. If you did, I don't know. If you're seeing this right now, then you watched this. Bro, like, nobody's ever been as smart as me ever. Anyway. Yeah, did I say like, comment, subscribe already? Anyway. I need to go. It's getting dark. Bye.